Are you teaching your preschooler the wrong letter sounds? Stick around, that's what we're talking about today. Hi, I'm Rebecca, and welcome to the Parent Teacher Bridge, where you can find the ideas and resources you need to empower you to be your child's most influential teacher. Today, I'm talking about learning the letter sounds. Before we begin, please click like and subscribe so you can be notified each time I upload a new video for your child's learning. So as we started the beginning of the school year, I saw all kinds of ABC charts, sometimes even sold in grocery stores. And I came upon one in particular that just made me cringe. You see, there are certain letter sounds you should teach first to your child if you're wanting them to get to that special point of being able to read a 3-letter word. You want to teach the right sounds at the beginning. Otherwise, you are going to cause a lot of confusion. So have you been teaching those wrong letter sounds to your child? Maybe you thought you were doing the right thing by picking up one of these charts that are commonly sold in the store. Now, I remember this one children's book that my son had, and it was very interactive. It was a board book, and it had a section where you could slide something over and see pictures in it, and it gave an example of shark for the letter S. But really, when I'm first teaching the letter S to a child, what would I want that letter S to say? That's right, just like snake. And I'm sure the people writing this book were probably thinking, oh, snake. Everyone has done snake before, so we don't want to do that. But that would have been a better example than shark, because you see shark has SH, and that is a digraph. And your child can learn that eventually, but in the beginning, we want to stick to the letters initial sounds, their most common sounds. So when you're teaching your child the letters, let's go through a list of some things that you do not want to do. The first one is do not add to the sound. So for example, if you're teaching the letter B, you wouldn't say the letter B says buh, as in ball, because in the word ball, you are not saying all. So for the letter B, you're going to do something called clipping the sound. And it's just a little way of reminding us not to add to a letter sound and just say b, not buh. And the same can be said for many of the other consonants. You would not say t for T, you would say t. You would not say m for the letter M, you would say m. Okay, so check yourself. Have you been teaching the letters that way to your child? If so, you need to clip the letter sound and change it a bit, because this can really trip some children up when they are first learning how to sound out words. Hi parents, would you like to get some free downloads? Check out my 5 quick tips to immediately help your struggling reader. Also, check out my survival guide for the new homeschool family. I'll leave a link in the description below. The next example is the soft C or soft G sound. So when the letter C or the letter G, when either of those are followed by an I, an E, or a Y, they often make their soft sound. We might think of the letter C saying k, as in cat, and that would be a wonderful example. However, if you think of a word like cereal that starts with a C, but it really sounds like it starts with an S, that would not be a good example. Now, as your child starts reading, they're going to encounter words like face or ice, which have a letter E after the C. And that makes the C say its soft sound. But your child doesn't really need to know that in the beginning. It would be better off for your child to learn the normal hard sound of the letter C. K. The same is true for the letter G. Its soft sound sounds like a J, a J. And when you're saying these letters, the C and the J, it's already kind of confusing for children, because I hear an S sound and I hear a J sound when I say these letters' names. So it's just a rule And rules are made to be broken. There's always going to be some exceptions. Think about the word get, G-E-T, get. You want your child to know the hard letter sounds of the C and the G. So think k, cat, or g, gorilla. Here are some examples of words with the soft C or the soft G. Cindy, cycle, cereal, Jim, gentle, and frigid. Now, as you can see, these words would not be in the very easy beginning level reading books. Now, if your child's name is Cindy, you may want to take an opportunity to explain to her why the C doesn't make its normal k sound in the word. Number 3 is teaching digraphs and blends before individual letter sounds. This goes back to my early example of shark for the letter S. You don't want to do that. If you were teaching the letter T, you could use an example of the number 2, that word, because the T makes the T sound. But I'm not sure that I would use a word like train. To a lot of kids, it sounds like it's making a CH sound, train. And I'm not sure that I would use any word that starts with a TH, like thank you. You're going to want to choose a word that starts with a T sound. Tub would be another good example. Number 4 is long vowels before short vowels. This one I see quite often, but it's really helpful if your child can learn the short vowel sounds before the long vowel sounds. That enables them to really unlock reading by starting to read those 3-letter consonant vowel consonant words. Like cat, the A says ah, or dog, the O says ah. You want to teach the short vowel letter sounds first before you start teaching them, oh, you have an E at the end of this word and it's going to make the vowel say its name. That will come with time, but that's not the first thing you're going to teach your child, and you don't want to overcomplicate things in the very beginning by using a bunch of exceptions. So when you see an ABC chart and it shows a picture of an ice cream, it's using the long vowel sound for the letter I because it's saying its name, I, instead of I. It would be better to use an igloo or an iguana. Yes, some kids may call it a lizard, but that's just when you give the opportunity for your child to learn vocabulary and you call it an iguana. I usually use igloo. Number 5, silent letters at the beginning of a word. Now, this is an extreme example, and I really haven't seen this one used, but you wouldn't use the word know, K-N-O-W, to use as an example for something that begins with the letter K. Yes, no does begin with the letter K, but you're not going to use that as an example with your child. It would be better to choose another word that starts with a K, like kite. And just the same, you would not choose the word gnat, G-N-A-T, as an example for the letter G. You're going to want to choose something that says G. So don't choose words with the first sound being silent. Now, it is fine if you want to teach your child some other letter sounds, but I would keep it as something gradual, and I would use the hard sounds of the letters C and G. I would use the short vowel sounds. I would use all of those as their common default sound that they go to, so that when they are one day sounding out words, they go to that sound first. If they don't know the rule about the soft C and the soft G, you can teach that to them gradually. And one way I've done that is to use my Reading Handy Helper. I will leave a link for that in the description below, and you can go find that on my website. With my Reading Handy Helper, I print it out in color, I laminate it, and I keep it right beside us with my beginning reader, so that when we encounter a larger word, a multi-syllable word, or maybe a word that has a few new rules, I can direct my child to that chart, and it's full of color and it's full of pictures, and it helps them to remember some of these newer rules. So be sure to check that out. Okay, so would you like a copy or an example of an ABC chart that you can use? Let's look at one together. Here is an alphabet chart that I made for my Parent Teacher Bridge website. Let's look at the vowels. So A is for apple, it says A. The I says I for igloo. The O says ah for octopus, and the U says for umbrella. And it's very handy to have a visual so that when your child forgets a letter sound, they can think of the picture and then they can think of the sound that the letter makes. Now, when my child was quite young, we would watch some YouTube videos that had music and visuals for my child to watch. One of those I really enjoy is Kids TV 123. It has a calming sound to it. It doesn't wear the parents out on annoying music, and it gives different phonics songs that your child can learn and memorize. If you think about a classroom in school where you grew up, do you remember seeing the ABCs on the wall? Do you remember what pictures usually went with each letter? Umbrella for the letter U. That was a common one, just like octopus for the letter O. And that's essentially what you're wanting your children to have, is so that they always have it with them because it's right here in their mind. Now, remember, the next time you are in a store and you're looking at a baby board book, or maybe you're at a dollar store and you're looking at some of their education materials, look for these things that I've listed in this video and see if you can find any major mistakes. Now let's look at the letter X. One question that you might have is, why use the ending sound for the letter X? Well, many times we just see the word X-ray. But other than that, there really aren't many words that our children are going to read that begin with the letter X, where the X says X. So I used that example box, but that is the one and only time that I did that. So you can just explain that to your child. You normally see the X more at the end of the word rather than the beginning of the word. Now, if you happen to be one of those parents that you're in the middle of teaching your child the ABCs and you're unsure how to connect that into teaching them how to read, you're going to want to check out my full course for parents, A Busy Mom's Guide to Teaching Your Child to Read. I will show you with videos and examples how to teach your child to read in a way that doesn't really require lots of sit-down worksheet, workbook time. I taught all three of my children to read this way, and they are all good readers with a solid foundation in phonics. It's going to take you all the way up through reading just about any short vowel word that your child will encounter. And as an added bonus, I've added in some other mini courses grouped with that full course as well. I will leave a link to that in the description below. Parents, I hope this video has helped you. If you've seen examples of an ABC chart that you did not like, leave a comment below. If this is the first time that you are hearing this topic, leave a comment below. And remember that you can ask me any questions that you want. I respond to all my emails. You can write me Rebecca@theparentteacherbridge.com. Remember, parents, you are your child's most influential teacher.